That was a tangent. Where were we?
Something about rats.
You were saying something about horror.
Oh, it was because you said the thing about the Ratchet and Clank puzzle, and Kyle was like, that's not a JRPG.
Okay, that was part of the tangent. I thought that was us getting back on track. Here I am as the conductor trying to get us back on track, just getting us back into the tangent. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the HGO podcast. I'm your host for today, Ethan, and as always, I'm joined with the guys, Kyle and Hunter. Hey, guys, you doing all right?
Doing dandy.
I'm doing just swell.
Yeah, 70 episodes. It's another 10 episodes down. Still feel like I don't know what we're doing, but hey, here we go. Ready for another.
The thing with this, you never really learn. You just guess every week.
Yeah, you just kind of sit here and you still think that you're new at this, and then you've been doing it for like
A year and
15 months, yeah, and you're like, I hope we're better than we were at episode 1. I'm like, maybe.
I like
don't
to
even
imagine
know.
we are.
I assume we
I
are.
think so, and then we have episodes like the greatest first-person shooter of all time.
Which does really well on podcast services. We love our first-person shooter fans, apparently, because they showed up. They showed up when we didn't.
And, yeah, we appreciate it.
We do appreciate it. But yeah, welcome back to the HGO podcast, where every week we come together to talk about everything that we love in the world of video games. You can find us on podcast services everywhere. Just go to I'm getting my thing wrong. Linktree. linktr.ee/hotgamersonly, where you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms. Leave us a review.
You can also go to youtube.com/hotgamersonly
and get the video version.
because we have a channel now.
Yeah, you can. And while you're there, hit subscribe. We'll think of a new milestone to come up with to get you to subscribe soon. But speaking of milestones, Cal's done his part of the deal. He's been streaming Mario 64 as of recent. We don't know what we're going to do with the footage, but we will probably do something. We'll probably condense it into like a 15-minute highlight reel, 20 minutes, something like that. We don't know what we're doing yet.
Yeah.
But if you want...
what I was thinking was like cutting, because it's 3 videos, just cut them down to like 20 or 30-minute highlight reels. Something like that.
I feel like you can go even further. We'll see. I think...
My thing is I don't want to like fill the channel with highlights.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying no. When I say go further, I mean like we could condense it down quite a bit. I feel like there were some low points, guys. There were some low points. But if you do want to go see those low points, you can go to Cal's Twitch and check the past broadcasts out.
I was also just gonna upload the full VODs to
on
my
your
channel.
YouTube. Sound. Yeah. So you can do that.
So if you all have 2 hours,
yeah, exactly.
Knock yourselves out
each.
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah, there's plenty of Mario 64 to enjoy.
Some would say too much.
Some might say too much, but no. Coming up on this week's show, we are talking the new Genshin update. We are talking Cris Tales. We might talk about Remake Intermission because I finally beat the fucker. So maybe we'll talk about it. Depends, because I'm so sick of that damn video game at this point that I'm just like, maybe I don't want to talk about it. We'll see.
Part 2 can take its time.
You know, you've stolen a bit from me there, Hunter. I was going to bring that up later. God damn it.
Oops.
It's okay. People don't listen to the end anyway. We could just make it again and no one will be in the wiser. Audience retention, am I right? But no, I feel like we should start the show. We're not going to go too deep into it, but a bit of housekeeping, I guess. If you haven't already, go look up the Activision situation. That's something that was announced. It's been out, the whole lawsuit. I don't think we're the right people to be talking about that issue. I think 3 white guys on the internet isn't the best kind of group of people to have a debate about that kind of stuff in gaming. But all the stuff that's come out is really terrible. From our perspective, you guys can do what you wish. You can stop buying Activision products. You can stop it. We can order them entirely. My personal stance on it is I'm just going to treat them like Ubisoft at this point. We're not going to give them any good press. But you guys do what you want to, but go and read the stuff that's terrible. And then, yeah, especially everybody that's been impacted, especially the people working at Blizzard and just in Activision in general, thank you for speaking out. And yeah, hopefully we actually see some fucking change, because Activision's response was absolutely fucking dreadful and basically went, it was ages ago, guys, when it wasn't. It was like fucking ongoing. But yeah, it's pretty shit. Go look it up. If someone reminds me, I'll have a link to the article and everything in the description so you guys can go and educate yourselves. But like I say, you've probably heard enough opinions, and the last thing you need is another 3 white guys going, so Activision, am I right, guys? I don't think. We're not intelligent enough to really come up with anything that's even worth hearing, and there's people out there who have voices that are much more deservingly heard than ours. So I'll leave it at that. But with that out of the way, let's take it from the serious topic and try and make a positive episode this week. We're going to start off by clickbaiting all you Genshin nerds, because, oh boy, Genshin 2.0, guys, wow, what a riot. We're all hyping up, we're all dabbing. Me and Hunter haven't played it, but we made Kyle play it for the podcast. So he was going to play it anyway.
Yeah, made is a strong word.
Oh yeah, you were going to play it anyway. But Genshin Impact, the next big... This is like the they've had, obviously, updates and expansions as they've been going, but I feel like this is the first big expansion for
like
Genshin since launch.
The biggest one so far, it feels like.
Yeah.
So, the 2.0 update came out, and they've opened up an entire new region to the player base. The region of Inazuma. It's Japanese-inspired, and it's absolutely amazing. It's continuing on with the story from the end of the last big update, the end of the Leeway update. I think I said that right.
Yeah, because you got that chef character that just had the one line that was like, "I'm from Leeway," and I'm like, okay, cool, what Leeway,
yeah.
like
Liwa, I don't
Liwa, Hawaii, who knows? There you go.
Not Hawaii.
Not Hawaii. Okay, well, you know.
Very
Sad
close
for
though.
UG noises.
But no, it's big. It's a big update.
It is
Genshin fans are
massive.
eating. I fail to estimate how big Genshin would be. We brought it up on the podcast because it had just come out, and I remember saying to you guys, I was like, I don't know, guys, I think this thing could actually be big. And like looking at it now, and it's like Genshin fans are ravenous, and it's kind of scary. The Genshin fan base is kind of scary. Not gonna lie, with how ravenous.
Not scary. They're just horny.
They are very horny, but also terrifying. Terrifyingly horny. But yeah. Oh no, Cal's webcam's caught up. It's all good. We're fine. Webcam's treating us right. But anyway, so big expansion based on Japan. How much have you played, Cal?
I've played a good amount. I don't know how big the update was, but I've played like two chapters of the story bits.
Mm-hmm. Also, yeah, we should, before you get into the meat, should probably also ask the question of history of Genshin, because me and Hunter, did you even play Genshin when it came out?
No.
Okay, cool.
Smart man.
I played it for 7 hours the day that we were going to record the podcast, and then never touched it again. Not because I didn't like it, just because I was like, this is going to be an addiction, and I'm going to cut myself off at the source from the start. Cal, you've been on and off since then, right?
Yeah, mostly it's like Animal Crossing. It comes and goes in bursts of like month-long bursts. But so for the past month, I've been catching up on all the story quests and just like getting myself prepared for the new region, so I don't like fall super far behind again. But
yeah,
I think I was talking to Hunter about this the other day. There was one moment in my time catching up where where I got to a big dramatic story beat, and out loud I audibly gasped, and then I'm like, okay, Kyle, you are too far deep into this.
Oh, right, because
need
I did
to take
ask
a
you.
break.
I did ask you how the story in the game was, and that's how you explained it to me.
how is the story in the game? Because it's like, don't spoil it, because I've said to myself that I will try and get into Genshin soon. Especially now because of the whole Aloy thing being added. I think that's hilarious. And I definitely want to be high enough level to jump in and see what the fuck that looks like when that happens in October.
The story is definitely... It takes its time getting places, but when it gets there, it's worth it. I think the payoff is worth it.
Okay, cool. So
and
anyway.
yeah, Aloy is also happening.
No one had that.
Game.
No one had that on their predictions.
What's really What's really funny is that she got data mined, but because the Genshin community is the Genshin community, they don't know who Aloy was.
Yeah.
So everyone was just like, "Who is this mysterious ice bow user we're gonna get?" And then I woke up on like 9 a.m, and like Aloy's Genshin art was the first thing I saw on Twitter, and I'm like, is this real? Am I being pranked right now?
Yeah, they had a
Kyle,
real.
This is that blinking GIF.
Yeah, they had the real like collaboration announcement day when they announced that, because then half an hour later they announced that they were doing Ratchet and Clank events for Fall Guys. So they had like a real weird crossover kind of event. But Ratchet and Clank being in Fall Guys, I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. That's like a collaboration I could see. Horizon and Genshin Impact, not as much. You'd think they'd
like, it kind of makes sense since Genshin is PlayStation console exclusive.
For now, it's been meaning to go to Switch for ages, but I believe the reason that it's not is because they haven't figured out how to make it run on Switch yet.
Oh, yeah, it's not gonna run on Switch. It barely runs on the PS4.
I mean, it apparently runs on phones, apparently.
That's true.
So,
forgot about that.
I don't think
always
it's too
forget
far
it's
off.
also a mobile game.
It is a mobile game.
It's also a gun.
We should probably get back on topic to the new expansion. So you said you've completed 2 chapters?
Yeah, I think.
Mm-hmm. How many hours did that take? Just out of curiosity.
Were
they quick, or was it like quite a bit of time?
Really good question. I don't much pay attention to my playtime. I kind of just like disappear into my own little world. But it took me like a good 3 days to get through what I've gotten through so far.
Okay, so that's quite a decent chunk of time then, probably, knowing you.
And a lot of the time is spent just like opening up the world, getting all my teleports in place to speed things up for later.
Mm-hmm.
Open world stuff.
The classic. The viewpoints. The Assassin's Creed open world design. Towers, perfect. Are we jumping off the towers? Okay,
favorite.
Cool. You don't jump off towers in Genshin,
there's a haystack in there at the bottom.
You don't jump off towers, though, in Genshin, because it's terrible. No, I'm kidding. Please, Genshin fans, please.
They're gonna drag you out back and shoot you in the leg now.
I like the game. I swear. So what's the deal with the expansion then? Give us the lowdown of what this entails without spoiling too much for people that haven't gone into it. What is the whole deal behind the expansion? I assume there's a whole story continuation that's making people go to this new land, I guess.
Yeah, so basically, your player insert character, the Traveler, they're still on the quest to find their sibling.
They'll be on this quest forever, by the way.
It feels like it, dude. We're supposed to get 7 elements, we're only getting our 3rd now, so this game's gonna take 1,000 years to finish. But yeah, so our travels have brought us into Japan land.
Weeb land, where all the Genshin fans wanted to go anyway, so it's fine. It's great.
Which,
they knew they already.
I'm surprised it took this long to get a Japan-inspired world, but
I mean, it's the first big expansion they're doing, right? So it's like, it makes sense. I will be more interested to see what they... I don't know. When people say it was based on Japan, I'm like, oh, go figures. That seems like an obvious thing. It'll be more interesting because obviously I assume each of these elements will have their own land, like their own area.
Yeah.
It'll be like Disney World.
What's the corresponding element to this area, by the way?
Electric.
Wouldn't have put there. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because what were the 2 that were already in? Was it Fire and Wind?
It was Wind and Earth.
Wind and Earth. Okay. Because I knew Wind was already a thing. I was like, if I would have placed a bet, if I would have placed a bet, I would have said that Wind would be Japan, but they already used Wind to start.
I would guess, but since I knew nothing,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so basically every your player insert character, the Traveler, they can be whatever element you want them to be based on what regions are available. So right now you've got the Wind, the Earth, and the Lightning region.
Mm-hmm.
So far, the only one that's been worth using is Wind, because Earth is really shit.
Nice.
It's just genuinely a terrible element. It's not good for the Traveler at all.
It's a terrible element, period. Don't even...
Yeah.
Find me a video game where it's fun to play as the Earth element. Please find me one. It's like...
I don't have
Xenoblade Xenoblade 2
in
had some
Avatar,
cool ones.
Toph is one of the coolest characters in the show.
Lame.
Earthbender.
Lame. Fucking lame. There's not. Oh
Xenoblade
wow! I have
2
the
had
power.
Wolfric.
I have the power of rocks, dude. What a riot! What a riot! Honestly, hey, it's like an Infamous Second Son. You've got all these cool powers, and at the end they give you concrete, and it's like, oh wow, what a fucking great power! I just had the ability to turn into neon and run at the speed of light, and then have video wings.
Turn into pixels.
Yeah, turn into pixels, and now you're giving me the power of fucking being able to fill in the potholes on the road. Thank you, game. Very cool. Rock sucks. How's Electric?
Electric has been definitely one of my favorite ones. So basically, Earth and Wind have been more support oriented, but Lightning is definitely offense. Like
as it would be.
As you would imagine. Which really sucks because later on in future gacha banner releases, there's going to be more electric characters coming up, which are just going to outclass the Traveler anyways. But, I'm having my fun while I can.
That's a good question, because there's going to be one based on each of the elements. Are all the elements already in the game?
Yes.
Okay. So there were already electric characters in the game before this update. It's just now that your player character has it.
Yeah. Now you can basically get a free-to-play electric character.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got you.
If the gacha rolls don't go your favor.
Which they won't.
They never do.
They never do.
As someone who has been crying on this banner, they never do. I just want Ayaka, dude. She's really cool. She does the sword thing where she draws it out and does rapid slash, and it's really cool.
Oh, baby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she does the Virgil thing.
Yeah. So what's the deal with this new area, right? You said it's Japan inspired. Is there anything that makes this area kind of unique to the others, other than just the towns and the cities? Is there like a unique world design? Is the world design any different, or is it just you're playing planes again, but this time, oh look, there's a pagoda over there or whatever, like, oh look, something that looks Japanese.
Cherry blossom tree or two.
Yeah, oh look, there's sakura blossoms everywhere. It's Japan.
There's like some smaller towns, just kind of smaller like little villages scattered around, so it definitely makes the big open plains feel more alive in that sense.
But it still is mostly plains.
Sort of. It's more mountainous.
Okay, yeah, so there is a bit of a difference. Because that was like my whole thing was, you already have a plains area, right? You already have a plains area. I don't really know much about the rock area, because I don't even remember if I got to the rock area when I played. But it was like, I was assuming
valleys.
Yeah, when they add new areas, you think
a lot
that
of
they
valleys
do,
and climbing, and it sucked.
You think they do the snow region and they'll do the desert region.
Yeah, they've done the snow region.
They've already done the snow. Wow, the fuck are they? They're literally on.
They made an ice mountain.
Why are you wasting your ideas? Leave that for a fucking the ice area. Don't fucking do it now, because then I digress.
Yeah, we didn't even get the ice power there. It was a ripoff. It was just an expansion of the Mondstadt, the wind area.
I carry on then. What
the ice level was not fun.
They never are. They never are. They never are. I have a friend who loves ice, like loves snow in video games, and I'm like, why?
Okay in the head.
I detest snow in video games, like genuinely. Like they're like, oh, my favorite part of the Red Dead 2 map is the starting part where you're in the mountain region in the snow, and I'm like, are you okay? Like seriously, are you okay?
Are you okay?
Because yeah, it looks cool, and oh look, like oh yeah, you make snow prints and stuff like that. But from a gameplay perspective, snow is always miserable. It's always terrible. Yeah, like it's never fun to play with.
I'll once again point to Xenoblade games. They did it right, where the snow doesn't really hinder you at all.
Yeah, I guess, but even still, I'm like,
can't you get ice slides, which break physics?
Yeah, maybe. Nah. Maybe. Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I see your point.
Making a very engaging argument for a podcast. Anyway, So from a gameplay perspective, how are the quests designed? Is it still your typical Genshin fashion, or are they doing anything interesting? Is there anything? Basically, what I'm trying to say is, obviously, it's the big 2.0 update. Are there any like? When you're playing this, do you feel like this is just more Genshin, or do you think that they're actually, this is something new? This feels fresh. They're doing things in different ways.
With the regular average Joe quests, it definitely feels just more like Genshin, like the quest you'll get from going around town and just talking to the random people. But the character story quests are definitely starting to feel more alive compared to how they were prior.
So explain what a character story quest is to dumb people like me and Hunter.
So basically, all of those cool gacha banner characters you're never gonna get have their own quests you can unlock.
Do you have to have them to be able
you're
to
not
do them?
you're not locked off from them if you don't have the character.
Okay,
that would be
good.
stupid.
That would be dumb.
That would be very dumb. It's there to tease you and be like, hey, remember this character you didn't fucking get?
Does doing the quest give you a percentage up in your chance to get them?
No, does it shit?
I don't believe so. God, the draw rates in this game are terrible.
Do you get to play as them during the mission, or is it just hanging out with them and learning more about them so that they can cock tease you into buying the fucking character?
You'll usually get a segment where you play as them.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
cool. Okay, so
you
yeah,
can like test drive them that way.
Okay.
But yeah, the story quests definitely, or the character story quests definitely start to make the characters feel a lot more fleshed out than they were in other ones. Like the one I just did with Ayaka, we brought her to a festival, and me and the traveler and her had this cute little moment, and I'm like, aw, my cynical heart just felt something. It was real nice.
Does every character get
Kyle
one of
had
these?
a feeling.
I think it's locked off to just 5-star characters.
Will Aloy get one?
Perhaps. I don't know. We'll find out in October.
That'll be interesting. That'll be really funny if they
That would
do
be
have like
bananas.
like if there's like a Razorback or something just in the plains of Genshin Impact that you've got to go deal with. I feel like that'd be a very
that'd
weird,
be cool.
or a Thunderjaw or
fun.
something. Yeah, that'd be quite fun.
Thunderjaw would be a good one.
Yeah. Or maybe they do one of the new ones from Horizon 2 that's definitely not coming out this year.
Hey,
Big old.
don't hurt my dreams.
Hey, they're my dreams too. I'd love to play a game this year, but it seems like everyone needs more time, and I'm also happy with them taking their time on games. So, can't complain. Is there anything that we've missed out on while talking about Genshin? Trying to think. We talked about the world. We talked about the story a little bit. Did you mention it's just an expansion, right? Without spoilers.
Yeah.
Hunter, have you got any questions as someone who is not knowledgeable at Genshin whatsoever? I feel like you're the perfect person to ask a question right now.
Yeah, the problem is I don't really have any.
Terrible job of as a co-host, by the way. Terrible.
Sorry. It's just kind of like...
Yeah. I don't know. You got any final thoughts then, Kyle, I guess? Are you enjoying your time? Are you going to finish it up? Are you going to keep playing?
I'm enjoying my time, yeah. And I'm interested to see, like, how... If this will continue... If the game itself will continue to have my interest after I'm done with the story quest. Like, with the story bits. See if it can tide me over until October.
I don't know if it'll do that, but it's very interesting.
Probably not.
I want to get back into it, but it's such a grind. That's the thing it's like now, like my character is genuinely back at the start, so I would be like, oh, time to go through fucking everything they've added in the past year, and I'm like,
dude, don't think of it as a grind. Think of it as content.
No,
think
I
of
won't.
all that content you're getting.
I don't know how much content I can take.
Meaningful?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I missed the opportunity. I feel like that game grabbed its audience, and won't let them go, and then everyone else is free to carry on about their daily lives without anything happening to them. But no, glad to hear.
It took me back.
Yeah, glad to hear you're enjoying it. And hey, if you have been playing Genshin Impact 2.0, let us know what your thoughts are. We'd love to hear from you. Let
us know if you think Aloy's out of place in this game.
I mean,
like
she's
so
more...
many people do.
She's the most in-place character I think you could probably get out of PlayStation Studios right now. Who else are you gonna like? The only other characters that they could possibly make fit are characters that Sony wouldn't necessarily want. I feel like Kat from Gravity Rush would fit, but it's like one. I don't think they don't want. They don't want. They don't want to program all the gravity into the game. Like, I don't think gravity powers would be something that the game could handle. And two, I don't think Sony's just fucking 07'd Japan Studio into oblivion. So I don't know if they'd want to. But like Kratos wouldn't fit. None of the Naughty Dog characters would. Sucker Punch is like maybe Jin would have been an interesting one.
Kratos.
Jin would have been an interesting
especially
one.
for this update. Actually,
Yeah, that would have actually
cool.
made sense. That genuinely would have made sense. Hey, maybe if they do a future collaboration, maybe it will be Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, maybe not Dad Kratos, but like the old PlayStation 2 Kratos.
Oh yeah, big angry screamy Kratos.
Yeah, he could have been cool. Be like,
Maybe.
I'm in this new realm to kill these new gods.
Yeah, true.
Where are they at?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they do any more of these kind of collaborations. It's a very weird
I
collaboration.
feel like
to have.
Aloy is kind of like a test run,
Oh, 100%.
just to see how it goes.
100%, and see how it goes from there. And it'll be interesting to see who they pick, because it's unprecedented. It's one of those weird things.
You mentioning the Japan studio thing made me think to Shadow of the Colossus, where the main character's name is Wanderer. So it's just a funny little match to the Traveler name.
Yeah, like, there are plenty of PlayStation properties that they could do. There's plenty of properties in general. They could go around to other studios and do some very weird crossovers. I'm surprised they went with Horizon first, but it seems like Horizon likes to have its fingers in all the fucking pies, dude. Genuinely. I think you can just whisper to PlayStation, we want something Horizon, and like, you're done. Like, have whatever you want, because it seems like the easy IP to get a hold of for some reason. Like, has a lot of crossovers.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Aloy.
It'll be fun.
It'll be interesting to see how she fits into like the game's meta, because there's already a 5-star ice bow user. So it'll be interesting to see like if this free character we're gonna get outclasses the gacha banner one.
Potentially.
But
I also just think it'll be
knows?
very weird, and I'm very interested to see what Aloy looks like as an anime character.
Oh yeah, I'm
That's
definitely
genuinely
looking
what I'm
forward to
interested in.
seeing the 3D
It's-
model.
How will Aloy look as an anime character? It's just a very weird concept to me. Now that we said that, I'd love to see what Kratos would look like as an anime character, to be honest. But there's
Towards
plenty
the
of
end
them.
of last year, I saw Kratos drawn in like the Hades art style, and that was real cool.
Oh yeah, but that would make sense. That's
Yeah,
like that'd be an easy transition.
It just made me think of the different art styles there, and it looked real neat.
Yeah, it's like how when you see a new Fall Guys collaboration, you're like, oh, that's how they butchered the character this time, and they're all great because they all look like the Ratchet and Clank ones. I don't know if you've seen the Ratchet.
They massacred my boy.
I don't know if you've seen the Ratchet and Clank ones, but they're glorious. The Clank one is literally like a fat Clank. It's great. It's just like it's just like fat Clank, and it's incredible.
I love these weird little beans.
They're so good.
The
Like
2B one made
the
me
2B.
laugh.
I went back on the game and bought it because it was that fucking funny. I was like, yeah, give with in-game currency, not microtransactions. But I was like, give it. And they're doing something interesting. I know this is a random tangent for Fall Guys, but they're doing it differently now, where instead of it just being a crown costume or whatever, where you get 10 crowns, you can buy the new collaboration. They're doing like a weekly event, like they're doing a Ratchet event and a Clank event, where there's certain challenges, and if you do all the challenges, you get the costume.
That's cool.
So you no longer have to be good at Fall Guys to get the character the collaboration costumes, which is quite interesting. I still stand by it. I wish when they did these collaborations, they do a level based on the collaboration that just stays in rotation. I think that'd be really cool, like having a
That would
Neon
be
Ratchet
cool.
and Clank level, or having a Nier Automata fucking race course or something really funny. Like, I feel like that'd be hilarious. Why haven't you done this? Mediatonic, hire me.
Yeah.
I've got great ideas.
Need to, like, it would be nice if they just reskinned one of their existing things, even.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a fun experience, but hey, that new season is out, by the way. Season whatever is Fall Guys finally got its season after being delayed for like a month. It's pretty good. They added like 7 new stages, 8 new stages.
What's the theme of this one?
Jungle adventure. I was close. I said that it would be prehistoric. There are dinosaurs in it, but it's not prehistoric. It's technically jungle adventure, which means anything Indiana Jonesy or Jurassic Parky. Is like they've got dinosaurs, they've got mummies, they've got temples, they've got an interesting. They've got
the old Tomb Raider games.
Yeah, basically it is. They've got this interesting final game now where it's like DoorDash, but it's a maze. It's like a finale maze where like it's random. They're all linked together, and there's different like jumping parkour puzzles, and each room's different, and you've got to find the correct way through the maze by finding the doors and grabbing the crown at the end. Pretty interesting. There's some interesting games. Yeah, and thank God they're not Christmas themed. I still say it again. Why the fuck did you do a Christmas season? Because now you're sitting there in July playing Christmas music and Christmas rounds, and you're like, why? Why is this a thing? But hey, I'm not doing a timestamp for this. Genshin fans, I hope you enjoy the extra 4 minutes of Four Guys content that you thought was Genshin content. Get wrecked, nerds.
Got him.
So, now that 90% of our audience is gone because we talked about Genshin, we're going to move on to just talking about other video games. Hunter, you have been playing a little game called Cris Tales. Crystalis, as I like to call it.
Finally. That's what the name of the country is in the game.
Is it?
You're
nice.
not too far off. Or Crystalis is the way they emphasize it, but
Yeah, potato.
Yeah.
So this is a game that you've been waiting for a long time. Like I remember you talking about this last year.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out last year around the same time that Age of Calamity did, but it got pushed. I've been fascinated with it since it was announced at like E3 a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and now it's finally here, and I've not got to play as much of it as I would like to.
But no excuses.
But I've been really enjoying. I've played like 4 or so hours of it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So we'll start from the beginning. What is Cris Tales? Because for dumb people,
indie JRPG that's a love letter to older style RPGs like Chrono Trigger and the classic Final Fantasy games, etc.
Okay, awesome. So
put a smile on Kyle's face just with those words.
Okay, cool. So what's the
words
setting?
Chrono Trigger will always make me smile.
Just ignore Kyle. He's just thinking of JRPGs again. Ignore him.
Shut up, Ethan. Learn to have fun.
No, only facts and logic on this podcast. No fun.
So I like season 1 better.
So did everyone else. Anyway, story. What's the story?
All right, so right now the story is set up. The main character's Crispell. She's an orphan who kind of trips backwards into these time powers, essentially.
So it is a JRPG, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard like hero adventure.
Whoopsie, I slipped and now I have godly powers. Hope I don't do anything bad with them.
She tripped backwards into the ability to see the past and one of many possible futures.
You get fucked, Shulk.
Yeah, that was Shulk.
Basically how Shulk learned to see the future.
What, by looking at the past?
He just like bonked the Monado on the table and then it let him see the future.
I also don't ever think he did a very good job of seeing the future.
I mean, that's... Find me a JRPG where the people don't stumble into things. Like, genuinely find me a JRPG. It's like Persona 5. Oh, I've got a bad app on my phone. Maybe it's malware. Let me press it real quick. Oops, I'm in another dimension. Whoopsie poopsie. Oh, look at this TV. Let me just see if I can stick my hand in it. Like, what the...
Secret of Mana starts with the protagonist falling off of a waterfall and landing in front of the legendary sword.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I shit you not.
Yeah, dude. Even like love letters like Undertale. Oops, I fell into a hole. Now I'm in a monster world. Oopsie doopsie.
Yeah.
It's the classic trope. But anyway, you were saying.
So yeah, it's a pretty standard like hero adventure setup. There's this time empress that's apparently making life hard for people across, I guess, all time periods. I'm not really sure the expanse of this force here, but it's been making life hard for the people in Crispell's town, so she takes her newfound ability and a couple of friends and is going to go and deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Kill God.
In a JRPG?
Who would have thought?
Holy. So anyway, you said it's based on JRPGs. I assume it's turn-based.
Yeah, it's turn-based.
How are you finding it?
It's got the it's turn-based combat, pretty standard stuff. You got the regular attacks, some skills. Cris Bell herself has a third bar underneath of the mana bar that is pertaining to the time crystal points that you can throw people into the future with or send them back.
Okay.
So that's a cool mechanic. That's put a smile on my face twice already.
So how does that work as a mechanic? Just as
I'm getting there. The first boss eventually starts using this shield that you can't break past. It just takes 0 damage every time you hit it. And your party member has a water attack. So the cool thing that you do is you use that water attack and then you shoot the boss into the future, and now their shield's all rusty.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's
That's
pretty cool, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that is neat. And then you start, and then after that, the fight proceeds as a pretty standard JRPG fight. Just smack them until they're dead.
Yeah.
They got the kind of timing thing where if you hit the button at the point of contact, you'll hit a second time.
Oh, Super Mario RPG. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
God, this game sounds amazing.
Yeah, I know. There was another cool moment like that later when I got a second guy. He has a poison thing. So
Poison.
Yeah, the poison.
Poison for Cusco.
So he poisoned the enemy, and I sent them to the future, and it just did all of the poison damage at once and deleted them. It was great.
That's quite funny.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it is cool. He had another move where you can his whole theme around his moves is plants and stuff. So he had a seed a poison seed that if you use it if you do the thing in the past and then break the crystal, it will come to the present and the plant will be planted and poison everything too.
That reminds me of Ratchet and Clank Crack in Time. There's a puzzle to do with plants in Crack in Time. Sorry, random fucking segue. Most random segue.
Excuse me, is that a JRPG, Ethan?
It is to some people.
Get out of here.
I don't know.
Get out of here with that crap.
People with their weird categories cracks me up. When I was reading the PS Plus games for the month back at the beginning of July, they were like, "Oh, horror game, Plague Tale: Innocence." I was like, maybe if you have a phobia of rats, but that's it.
I had a friend that did shit themselves. To be fair.
Okay. Are they scared of rats?
I don't know. I don't really ask. I was just laughing to myself. I was just laughing to myself because they didn't know what the whole gimmick behind Plague Tale. For those of you who don't know, the whole gimmick behind Plague Tale is there's this whole sea of fucking rats that fucking chases you and you've got to solve shit around.
Yeah.
And it just made me laugh because I was just sitting there going, "Has he got to the bit yet?" And one of my other friends was like, "What's the bit? I want to know the bit." And I'm like, "I can't tell you because I don't want to ruin it for him. It'll be funny. It'll be funny, yeah." And I just remember hearing him go, "Fuck!" I'm like, "Yeah, there you go. He's there we go. Got it." Sea of rats. It's such a stupid idea. That game's apparently great, but just seeing it from an outsider's perspective, just seeing a sea of rats come at someone, I'm like, this is so fucking dumb. But I've heard it's great.
It is really silly, but Plague Tale's a good game, and if you have, I don't know why it's the PS5 Plus game, but if you have a PS5,
because they did a PS5 version of it that just released, so they're doing a cross promotion like they did with Bug Snacks and some other games, Destruction All Stars. You know those kinds of games where they release the. I mean, Destruction All Stars doesn't have a PS4 counterpart, but Oddworld, that was the other one that I was trying to think of.
Oh, right, Oddworld.
Yeah, Oddworld, the perfectly balanced game that got a 71 or something, then got 0 points for Jack, got 1 point for Jack on the Fantasy Critic. But anyway. That was a tangent. Where were we?
That was a tangent.
I'm lost.
Something about
the last
rats.
thing I said was Plague Tale. I think he wants to get back to Cris Tale.
You were saying something about horror. You were saying something about horror, about how people found Plague Tale scary or something, and saying it's not.
Oh, it was because you said the thing about the Ratchet and Clank puzzle, and Kyle was like, "That's not a JRPG."
Okay, that was part of the tangent. I thought that was us getting back on track.
No, it's what started the tangent.
Here I am as the conductor trying to get us back on track, just getting us back into the tangent. It was like, yo, let's go back on the tangent and re-elaborate what we said. Let's go.
So as far as the combat goes, it's been really interesting so far. And then the last thing I did, like the last battle I had, it unlocked like team attacks similar to like the tech moves and
Dual
Chrono
techs.
Trigger. Yeah, exactly.
Why does this game have everything I want?
Just buy it already, Kyle. Just buy it already.
Maybe I will. What's this available on, Hunter?
PlayStation 4, PS5, Switch, Xbox, everything.
Wow, it's even on the Phil Spencer console. Wow. Phil, I love you. Buy me an Xbox.
But can I play it on my phone?
Probably not.
Let me double check. No, it's just on consoles, but it's on every console. Also, shout-outs to OpenCritic for having the most Casper white web page ever that makes my webcam go to hell. Thank you, appreciate it. I can't find dark mode, so I'm just going to close the tab. Yeah, I can't find it.
Mine defaulted to dark mode.
Oh, good for you.
Actually, yeah, my OpenCritic is dark mode too.
Right, I'm finding. All right, I'm sorry, video listeners. You're just going to have to deal with me being Casper while I fix this. Right. Carry on.
But anyway, so yeah, I just unlocked like the dual tech kind of move, so that's fun. This is one of the first JRPGs in a while where I feel like I've actually had to use my team as a team instead of just, oh, this person does this and this person does this other thing that's kind of independent from what the other person's doing. Like, in Final Fantasy X, they have a lot of enemy types that are basically, this is the Waka enemy.
Yeah.
You take out the flying things. Titus fights the lizards. Lulu fights the, frowning
Everything
ice cream
else.
scoops.
I mean, that is most turn-based RPGs, even if it's not specific. It's like, oh, the flying monsters are always bad at, like, always weak to this, and this. It's like Pokemon tactics. You can just look at the fucker and go, okay, I know what I'm doing. Unless we're in the later gens where sometimes they just have misleading fucking bodies where you're like, oh, that's obviously a fire type, and then it's like, no, you dumbass, it's obviously ground fighting, dum. Like, no, dumb. Anyway, carry on.
My favorite one, side tangent real quick, my favorite one of those moments was in Gen 5 with Electros.
Yes.
It's Sprite planted on the ground. It's a mono-electric type. Planted feet on the ground. So you use a ground type move. Fucker's got levitate.
Yeah, that was dumb. That was fucking dumb. I remember that.
They fixed that in Gen 6 and 7 when they made its model, like, float above the battlefield. But for a brief moment, I'm like, this is dumb. And that was in the final boss when I learned that. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Cris.
Black and White's a great game.
The point I was making was it's the first time in a while that I've had to, I've been incentivized to use my party as an actual team instead of just 3 individuals beating down things separately. So that's cool. I've been enjoying that. I'm eager to see how this goes as, I unlock more moves and all of that, how the progression happens, because it's a very good start.
So yeah, are you enjoying it so far? Because from what I've seen about Cris Tales, is the critics thought one way about it. People that have been playing it seem to be really enjoying it.
I feel like I'm going to finish this game, and I'm going to believe that this game got lowballed to all bejesus by the critics.
Oh, yeah.
77 seems like...
I feel it. 77?
Yeah, it's pretty...
Yeah, 77.
What's the Scarlet Nexus?
Yeah, and...
Another game that got robbed.
It did.
But no, reviewers just really don't seem to be liking Japanese or Japanese inspired games at the moment, like game sound.
I don't know either. The most irritating thing is that when Pokemon
if Brilliant Diamond and Pearl get above Scarlet Nexus, I'm
come out later this year,
gotta
it's
add
gonna
the
get
Nintendo 10 points.
It's gonna get like a mid-80s. And it's going to be the exact same game that it was however many years ago in a silly art style that is not as good looking as this art style.
It's going to go one way or the other. It's either going to get review bombed or
it's not going to get
the Nintendo 10 when it should be like a 70.
Although one thing I will say is that I will definitely be buying it and probably be giving an honest review on it. So hey, get subscribed to the YouTube channel. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you want a real opinion on that video game that isn't just a review outlet saying it's good because it's Pokemon, then hey, you know where to find us in November, like 3 weeks after the games come out, because we're always late with our reviews. Cris Tales.
I'm gonna be especially late with this one since I'm gonna lose a week of progress to it.
Are we late?
Okay.
We're backed up on reviews. We're missing. Ratchet has obviously been a review that should have been out weeks ago, but I got ill and stuff like that, so that one's still coming. Hopefully, in the next week or two, that'll be out. Are we backed up on any other reviews that we missed? We didn't really talk about Intergrade. I don't know if we will.
No, I don't feel like that.
To.
I don't feel like that warrants a review.
We'll do it. We'll do a mini review in a second, after we finish talking about Crystal.
Mario Golf also, I couldn't make a review for.
Oh no, that was
it.
We were talking about Kyle and Scarlet Nexus potential. That was the thing
that
was in my head.
Scarlet Nexus,
that was in my head.
Yeah.
But that hasn't even started yet.
No, that was the other one that I was thinking of. It's okay. Right, we're back on track. So
it's gonna have to be. It's not done. Or real.
Unacceptable. I want it real by Friday. Anyway.
Shit, today's Friday.
I'll give you till next Friday. I'll be kind.
Oh, thank you for extending the homework, teacher.
Concluding Cris Tales, then. Would you recommend it so far from your little time played?
Yes. This game is neat. I really like it so far. Just those two things I mentioned with the time jump, rusty shield, and poison thing put a genuine smile on my face. So that was cool. The characters are neat too. Cris Bell so far is not too far different from the typical JRPG protagonist, but she's got such an earnest way about her that she comes off better than Rex from Xenoblade 2 or
how dare you
someone else.
That is the perfect protagonist. How dare you?
My
Rule
favorite
7
part
is the salvager's code, Hunter. Rule 7.
My favorite part is that Cris Bell is voiced by Kira Buckland.
Oh, boy.
Who voiced 2B, who is just perpetually done with everything in Nier. So it's just an amusing contrast.
No. Glad to hear you're enjoying it. And hey, if you guys have checked out Cris Tales, again, let us know what you think. Did it deserve a 77? Let's find out.
Probably not.
I feel like it was robbed. But I feel like a lot of games have been robbed this year. And I feel like some games like Mario Golf Super Rush should have got lower. But hey,
I feel like 75 was a good place for Mario Golf.
No,
it's especially in a world where tennis has 75 and golf has less.
I'm sorry, but if we're living in a world where Scarlet Nexus is a 79, Mario Golf does not get a 72.
Snap is an 80.
Yeah,
look, I can't fix every injustice in the world, Ethan. I would love for Scarlet Nexus to be, whatever Astral Chain got, and a little bit more because it's better than that game.
Unacceptable.
Absolutely. Slap that shit on a Nintendo console and it would have gotten an 82.
True. Right. Anyway, so that's Cris Tales. To wrap out this podcast. Rap battle this podcast. Wow.
DK.
Donkey Kong is here.
To wrap up this podcast, I finally finished Remake Intergrade. Well done, Ethan. You beat the 5-hour DLC in a month and a half. Congratulations. But no, I platinum base 7. So we've done that, and I'm not doing hard mode on Intergrade. It can go fuck itself. I've had enough now.
There's no trophy for that.
There is, but I don't care.
Oh,
I don't care. With the trophy, I got 5 out of 9 of the Intergrade trophies, and with that it says the main percentage is 90%, and that's a nice number. I'm like, I'll leave it there then. That's good enough for me.
Round number.
Yeah, it looks nice. It looks nice enough for me to not care, because the old number was 83 or some gross number where I'm like, no, bad number. Bad number to wrap it up on. I played Intergrade, and I don't know about you, Hunter, but it's a mixed bag for me. It genuinely is I enjoyed it, but it's completely predictable and pointless. Yeah.
It's just kind of there to contextualize things for Yuffie that they probably wouldn't feel like doing once she joins the party in part 2.
Yeah. That's basically what it is. I mean, everyone's probably guessed the ending because of if you know the premise, you probably know the ending. In fact, I'll just say it right now because we aren't going to do a review. We're not going to do a spoiler cast either. We're going to say spoilers for Remake Intergrade because I feel like if you have a PS5, you've had a chance to play it. If you don't have a PS5, then thank you for listening to the podcast. We love you loads. Thank you. See you next week. Right, because we've probably got 10 minutes left. Kyle's already gone. He's already done. We don't want those. He's gone. There we go. Goodbye. Oh, he came back.
I was like, I'm not sure why he's walking away. I don't know if he has any intention of playing part 2. So,
but no, we're gonna mention spoilers.
Not unless I can find a PS5.
This is the only time
in the next 5 years.
Well, yeah. I mean, even still, it's like I'm sure you'll live because I don't think you'll care about the DLC. You're not gonna pay 16 quid or whatever it was for the DLC. Like,
yeah, I'm not gonna play the Intergrade.
Yeah.
So to me, the only thing that I was like, oh shit, was the ending, which they could have just added to Intergrade at the end as a post-credit scene for people that are playing it through on the PS5 for the second time as a nice little thing. Oh, and bye, Hunter. Salut. Unlucky. Guess you're just going to have to deal with me.
Someday we'll get through a cast without interruptions again.
But I think everyone knew going in that obviously there was these two characters that they were talking about. There was Yuffie and then there was Sonnen, who was the new character who you couldn't play as. And I think everybody and their mum knew that Sonnen wasn't going to make it out of this alive because he's not in the Final Fantasy VII. He's a brand new character. And yeah, he does die. There's a cool way, like he kind of sacrifices himself in a weird way. It was very weirdly framed though. I'll ask Hunter when he comes back, but it was a very weirdly framed. Basically, you beat the final boss, who is Nero, I believe, from
Devil May Cry.
No, I'm gonna double check this. From Cerberus. The
Nero
Dirge
or Weiss?
Nero. Nero is also a character from Cerberus. Dirge of Cerberus. Weiss is also in it.
Yeah, I knew Weiss was in it. He was in the trailers.
But I don't get why these characters are in it because I'm like, are they doing the story of Dirge of Cerberus is after, right? Is after 7. So they just...
I believe so.
Like, why are they fucking in this game?
Up?
Why is Weiss and Nero in this game?
The Dirge of Cerberus people? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were from Dirge of Cerberus until I read about them because I never played that. I just know the commercial.
Well, the way that they did the reveal of both the characters, I was like, oh, these must be characters that are in Remake and are in the original Final Fantasy VII. And I looked it up and they're like, nope, it's from the fucking spin-off. I'm like, well, whatever. Why are they here?
At first, I thought they were original concoctions, to be honest. I was like, who are these guys?
But no, I was, yeah.
They came from Vincent's game.
But I was saying before you left, Hunter, that everyone knew that Sonnen wasn't going to make it out of this alive if you had more than one brain cell.
Yeah.
And it's done in a decent enough way. I think it was an interesting enough way. I don't get why Nero just decided, yeah, I'll only take this one's life. The elevator button hasn't even been pressed. I'm just going to let Yuffie survive. I'm like, I don't get why.
I don't know. They hadn't destroyed the Dementors yet, so... Invisible Dementor interference.
Do you know what? That's what I honestly thought was going to happen. I thought he was going to sacrifice himself, and then it'd be all for nothing because the fucking shadows, the whatever they're called, would save Yuffie anyway because she's intended to be somewhere else because it takes place during the Sector 7 collapse as that's happening. So I was like, so when they just had this weird awkward pause of having this monologue while he's been stabbed and the guy is still behind him that's done the stabbing. It's not like he's fucked off. He's still behind Kyle. Imagine the guy just standing there going, yeah, I'm not killing you. I just want you to have this conversation and then let you escape. I'm like,
I just want you to remember me forever.
It just seems like
never be a memory.
But I liked Sonnen as a character. They did some interesting stuff
cool.
with him.
He was a nice
interesting enough.
Pal.
Yuffie was interesting. Like, I don't care. Like, she just seems a bit fucking annoying. Like, that seems to be her quirk is... I'm annoying, and I'm not a kid, and I hate every JRPG character that's fucking character trait is I'm not a kid. I hate you all, like, genuinely. Because to be fair, it's like, they're like, oh, but you're just a kid. She's like 16 or something, right? I'm like, it's not like she's 8.
I think 15 is the number we came to.
Is it 15 or 16? I'm like...
I don't remember. This was a while ago.
Yeah, it's like, they all knew that going in that she was a 50, like, teenager anyway. I'm like, why is everyone going, well, you're just a kid? Like, I'm like... Dumb.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they would explore more about, putting the weight of this war between two superpowers on the shoulders of a kid there.
I also...
It's 16.
Yeah, basically the whole thing with Sonen is his sister died thanks to Shinra, basically. And they're trying to have like this sibling relationship, and there's this really awkward scene on the train where Yuffie's like, I'm not your sister, and I feel like it comes out of nowhere for no reason, just so that he can have this sacrifice moment and she can have the, oh no, did I actually think of him as like a sibling in a weird way, and him going, not my that whole sequence. There's also this animated scene at the end where she's running away from the headquarters after he's died, going, I'm not your sister, I'm not your sister, I'm not your sister. I'm like, you've known each other for like fucking 2 hours. Why the fuck are you having this midlife crisis on this person that's just died when you hardly know him? There was this really cool shot of Sector 7 just fucking falling, though. That was pretty
really
cool.
Did
Going
they
up in
not know
flames.
each other before?
No, not really. As far as I'm aware, they didn't. Or they didn't know each other very well. But the whole thing just feels like the gameplay parts feel like a waste of time. This feels like a movie they could have added. This feels like a movie that they could have
a little
done.
bit.
Because it's like a mixture of Hojo's lab, because you've got a fucking lab section in Shinra. That's not as bad as Hojo's lab.
It's not as bad as Hojo's lab. It's more like streamlined. So.
But it's still not that engaging. In the first chapter, I liked the first
interesting.
chapter because it was like messing around in Sector 7 and doing some interesting stuff. But
yeah. Given those Shinra soldiers that run around.
Yeah, exactly. Big chase scene. But it feels pointless. What wasn't pointless was the ending. As Nomura is adding more bait to the fire. So basically, we'll explain it to Kyle. So they added like another
Should
5...
we recap one of the important things about 7 Remake's ending for the people who might have stayed and not known?
Oh, yeah, sure. So in the original Final Fantasy VII, you have this scene where in an alternate reality or in another world, Zack survives. Zack in the original Final Fantasy VII dies, and Cloud basically takes his place, basically, is what the whole story is. Without going... I don't know too much about that, so please don't spoil it. I just know that that's the kind of relationship that kind of led to, was Cloud taking the Buster Sword and basically taking his place of where...
That's about all you need to know.
That's all But in this...
that's the minimum of what you need to know.
But destroying the Whispers seems to have disrupted reality in a way where in another universe, Zack survives.
Nice.
And they both, him and Cloud, walk towards Midgar, surviving the event. So that's all you need to know. And you can, they walk past each other. You can see that they're kind of faded out to try and represent that it's a different universe. It's not this universe. I 100% think this implies that at some point near the end, these two universes are going to collide, and Zack and Cloud are going to fight Sephiroth at the end, and it's going to be this big epic thing where they both team up to destroy Big Daddy Sephiroth, and it's going to be very epic, very cool. Everybody will clap. Everyone will applaud. And I feel like this is a bit like... I noticed someone have a theory where they were like, what if the characters that die usually are part of Zack's part? Like, the reason that they're building up all these characters are these are the characters that survive in Zack's reality.
You mean like the
what if Zack's
people?
So what if Jesse is actually a member of Zack's party that you're going to play as at some point in one of the remake parts, which I think is an interesting idea.
Now I just want to see Jesse and Zack interact.
Yeah. You might.
She thought Cloud was hot.
Yeah, Zack will probably
that girl has no clue what's coming
to
her.
But we should explain the ending. So you get a couple of extra scenes. The first 4 scenes are all to do with
just random things with
the original
party.
Yeah. So they're walking out of Midgar. They're heading to, where are they heading to? There's the new town where everyone knew it would pick up. Calm, that's it. Everyone thought that this is where the game would pick up again. Yeah. So they're walking towards Calm. They have this very boring conversation about Barrett's like, we should be there in a day, and then Aerith has this whole monologue of like, when you say a day, do you mean like my mum says a day, where it's from when you wake up to when you go to bed, or is it like my day, where it's from when you wake up to when you wake up the next day? And Barrett's like, it's like your mum. And
genuinely, that sounds like one of the incorrect Final Fantasy quotes.
It genuinely does, but it's correct.
Really
But it's correct. So they're having this conversation, and Cloud's very nice in this scene, which I thought was very no sass anymore. He's kind of smirking. He's like, you can tell he gets along with them now, because he just they're all getting along now, at least for the most part.
Yay.
Which is funny because I saw someone mention in the next one, if it's going to be like a road trip, it's going to be like Final Fantasy 15, but instead of building up characters that you don't like, you're just going to have characters that you like from the get-go. And I'm like, that's a good like idea for a video game.
Yeah, what a concept.
Making likable characters
in a world that's actually interesting.
But no, so they're chatting shit. Barrett is like, let's breathe in this fresh air, even though they're like fucking like not even that far away from Midgar. He sees Midgar. He gets a bit sad because he's always probably thinking about his daughter, and he's like, let's do it later. And they basically do this big farewell to Midgar as they pan over to Midgar, and we 07 Midgar. And I was like, oh, that's cute. They added a little scene where they say goodbye to Midgar, and then it goes on for another 5 minutes. The second scene is them sitting by the road, and they hitch a ride from Chocobo fucking Bill, who was from the original. Yeah. So Barrett gets bullied by a chocobo. He starts in the back of a truck.
Most of these scenes were pointless, but I think there was great. A laugh in each of them.
They're great character development where I'm 100% okay with them spending a load of money animating these in the high quality assets for some reason. So they play that. That's a cool one. Then there's another interesting scene where they get to the town of Calm, and it starts raining, and Aerith says, I have this weird feeling in my stomach. And Barrett's like, it's probably because you're hungry, and starts walking towards the town.
Yes,
there's a lot of theories going on this.
Yeah, the universal omen.
Yeah. Some people are speculating that the rain represents Zack, because whenever it rains, we have a fucking reference to Zack, and Aerith gets a bad feeling about things. And I'm like, I think you might be onto something here. That Aerith can sense the other. When you see the Zack survives timeline thing past them, it's raining. So I'm like, you might be onto something here. Aerith might be able to feel the sense of another universe or whatever. Then the final one, which is the interesting one, Cal, which was the one where I was like, oh shit, this actually is crazy, is it cuts to a scene of Zack standing outside of the church in Sector 8. And I was like, oh, this is just a flashback or whatever. Sector 5. I'm just like, oh, this is a flashback or whatever. So he's just talking.
That's
he's
what
like,
I thought too.
He's like, he's going to meet Aerith, basically. And he's like, hey, it's been a while. Long time no see. I'm back. He's basically practicing what he's going to say. And he's just, eventually, he just gives up and he opens up the doors. And there's a load of Sector 7 refugees just sitting there. And the flowers are wilted. And it shows someone standing on the flowers. And he just says Aerith. And it just cuts to black. And it's like, oh shit, he's alive. Like, that's like yeah, he's probably alive. And it was very cool. I was like, oh shit. That's interesting. I can't wait to see how Nomura makes this way too complex, but there you go.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what they do, because Zack I didn't even play Crisis Core, but just the little bits of Zack that I've seen throughout the saga of Final Fantasy VII, he's always been interesting, at least.
Zack is pretty cool.
So him being included more will be fun in whatever capacity they manage to do it in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll always remember there's this one scene from Crisis Core right before Zack fights one of the variants of Bahamut, where he's just talking nonchalantly with Aerith on his phone. And then he's just like, well, I've got company, I need to go. And Bahamut's just looking down at him.
But yeah, it was like, I love what they're doing with it, with the fact that it's like no one knows what the fuck's going on in a weird way.
Yeah.
I also love that it's staying true to the original, where they did flashbacks of Zack during base. Like, you'd see like flashbacks of Zack, and people would be like, what the fuck is this? It's going through Final Fantasy VII. And yet again, we're here with Zack going, what the fuck is happening? Like, I love that it's like all around the same character in a way where it's like, okay, no, seriously, what the fuck is happening with Zack? Like, alive? Different universe? Are you, like, what's happening? Did they cross into this universe when they beat the Shadow Harbinger? Are they now in the universe where Zack's alive and they didn't unknowingly swap to a different fucking universe? Like what the hell's happening? It's very weird.
It is something like that. Also, the fact that Zack's alive implies that there's a less traumatized Cloud running around somewhere too.
Aw,
well,
yay.
Yeah, someone said, which I thought was
I just want Cloud to be happy.
Yeah, someone said, which I thought was a very interesting point, was because Cloud never takes the Buster Sword and stuff like that, that means Cloud never fell through the Sector 5 church and stuff like that. It's like, did the Turks get to her before Zack could even come back? Like, is Aerith dead? Is Aerith gone? Like, Is the Aerith in that world gone because Cloud was technically never there to protect her at that point? Like, it's very weird. We don't know when that flashback scene took place. It's very weird.
It is weird
very
to think
weird.
about too, because if Cloud never did any of that, then why would you'd have to imagine that Avalanche wouldn't have been able to force Shinra's hand enough to get rid of the Sector 7, so the refugees being there is a bit opens up more questions.
Which is like, that's a very good point. Is it I am so confused. Did killing the Shadow Harbinger bring Zack into our... Are we thinking of... Did it bring him in? Like, when they walked past, did they enter our fucking dimension? I'm like, who fucking knows? Crazy wild ride Nomura. We'll find out in 4 years. We'll probably find out in 2023, I think. Maybe 2024, latest.
Oh boy, 2023, when they release 16 and 7 Remake Part 2.
That'll be a fun year.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. It's like my guess would be 2024, but that also seems like a long time because they started working on Remake Part 2 last year. So it seems like,
I wouldn't be shocked. It could go either way with when 16 comes out and when 7-2 comes out. Mm-hmm. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Final Fantasy 16 came out in 2024.
I honestly have
they announced Final Fantasy 15 like 10 years ahead of time, so
you know what, it's Forspoken. That's the thing that because if Forspoken wasn't a thing, I'd be like, Final Fantasy 16 is next year, remake the year after. But Forspoken is that game where I'm like, would they really release a Final Fantasy game and this Forspoken RPG in the same year?
Yeah,
would they? Like, it feels like a weird thing for
especially
them to do.
With the addition of the Stranger in Paradise, like 3 bigger kind of games.
No, yeah, no one gives a shit about that. Let's be fucking real. That is like the Kingdom Hearts rhythm game of Final Fantasy games where people, the fans will pick it up, no one else will give a shit. Like genuinely. But it's a very weird one. And I am looking forward to it, but I am very much ready to have a break. I'm very much ready to not play that game again. I have got my fill. I'm so bored of it now where I'm like, yeah, very cool. I really need a long break. I don't think I'll be playing this game again until Part 2 comes out, and I don't think I'll play it again then. I think I'll just hop straight into Part 2. Be very interesting. I love the theories, and I can't wait for them to all be ruined in the next chapter. Can't wait. Salu. Yeah, honestly, it's so weird. So weird. But hey, you love to see it. I'm glad they're not just doing a straight-up remake, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
This is a lot more interesting.
It's presented a much more interesting world of possibilities this way.
I mean, Nomura has literally taken what everyone always says, where they always say, like, oh, if you don't like the remake, just play the original. And Nomura was like, yeah, if you want the original story, go play the original. We're going to mess about and do some cool stuff with the new version. And I'm like, that's the cool way to do it, because it's like, who the fuck wanted the exact same story in the exact same way? It's like, there's no fucking point in a way. It's like, just play the original, especially because it's on the PS4. Like, the original's on the PS4.
It's on everything, basically. It's so easy to get a hold of now. Like,
to me, it's very interesting, and I like I said, I can't.
Like, despite the fact that I was thrown off by Dirge Cerberus guys being in this DLC, it's interesting that they're pulling from not just Final Fantasy VII.
And I wonder if those characters will actually show up, or if they were just like a cool little reference for the Dirge Cerberus people. Like, I feel like that's because
all 5 of them.
All 5 of them, because they do a weird.
They
do a weird thing where he like takes Sonen's body away at the end, and I'm like, that's weird. That was another thing that the same people that said that Jesse might be a part of Zack's team, people said that Sonen might be as well, and I was like, that's an interesting shout. It's cool. Is in Zack's universe, Sonen survived instead of Yuffie, and like it's the two survivors
Jesse,
kind of thing. Like
Zack and Sonen sounds like a pretty
sounds like a good team. To be honest.
I'd be down for a game with those 3.
Yeah. Honestly, that's going to be the hype moment. When we get to play as Zack, when they do the camera pan and you're playing as Zack, that's going to be the cool moment. Even if he plays the exact same as Cloud, everyone's going to be like, yeah!
What if that's how Part 2 started?
Playing as Zack? That'd be fun.
Yeah, so what? Yeah, so almost like, what if the start to part 2 is it does a flashback back to when Zack and Cloud were with Sephiroth and stuff like that, like do like a full on like tutorial kind of.
That's where the story is kind of what that is in the base game, except they're cagey about Zack being the one that was hanging out with Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Because you just see Cloud instead.
But no.
You kill a dragon, it's cool.
Sephiroth kills a dragon, you don't do
anything. Sephiroth kills a dragon, Cloud eats the floor.
Can't wait to see that. Can't wait to see that.
Cloud watches.
But no, like, even just watching those stupid little bits, like you said, like 4 of the cutscenes, the Rain one's interesting because with the whole Aerith feeling something off already, and like that kind of stuff's interesting, but even the stupid ones beforehand where they hitchhike with Chocobo Bill and they're just walking, just makes me realize
fun interactions.
How good of a job they've done developing these characters for this new story, and how like I've got to say, like, I'm kind of scared for them to add more because I don't want too big of a party. I know there's not many more. Like, there's Yuffie and there's Vincent, right?
Sid and Kate Sith.
And like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, we're getting too big.
Okay, but they're the ones that are probably going to, like, Kate Sith isn't going to get emphasized that much.
Yeah.
They have a little moment in disc 1 sometime, and that's about
which will be part 2, which will be in part 2.
I feel like if anything, Kate Sith is going to be like Red, where he's just like uncontrollable support character.
That would be a good shout, to be honest. That would be a good shout.
Yeah.
That's actually a very good shout. I agree.
And like, Sid doesn't really take up that much of the story's bandwidth either. He has his introduction spot, and then it's kind of like, oh, well, you're here if I ever want to put you in the party.
Yeah, that's
Vincent's just cool.
That's just the
like,
thing.
The edgelord version of cool.
The reason that
they better make him playable.
I think they will, but Remake has been at the current thing where it's like chapters are built for certain characters. It's not like a choose your party kind of thing. You can choose your party in the optional battle arenas and stuff like that, but it's like very much it's like this chapter was built in mind for you having Barrett, Tifa, and Cloud. That's what the thing is, and I kind of hope they stick with that because some of the I feel like level design works better that way, especially when you're doing a linear level chapter structure like you did in the original Remake. Because, you know, if you're like, oh, we have to make this linear level, but we have to make it so that all 8 playable characters can be successful in all combinations, you kind of get shitty fucking level design where you're like, well, let's make it a corridor, let's make it Hojo's lab where you're just going through corridors beating shit up. And I'm like, no, we don't want that.
I feel like if anything, they're going to do things where they like split the party in half.
That's
like 3 people go one place, 3 go to another.
I think they're 100% going to keep the 3 thing where it's 3 characters.
3 is a good number.
Mm-hmm. Especially in
a uncontrollable support person hanging out.
Yeah.
But now I can 100% see them.
Perfect. We just wrote Final Fantasy 7 too.
Yeah.
I almost said 13 too. That's already been written.
My just hope is that they keep expanding these characters and they don't just go, we did all the job in part 1, now Barrett's just going to be funny joke guy in the back. I'm like, please keep expanding him and having heartfelt moments with these characters. Don't just leave Tifa off to the side now because they're like, we developed that.
They should do that because that is a worry that I have too, because when you get out of Midgar, Barrett slowly starts losing importance in the original game.
And I mean, from the end credit scene, it gives me hope because Barrett is still being that stupid fucking person where he's like, "Don't worry, I'll lead the way." Like he's like, like he makes this whole joke of like, "I'll lead the way," and like being super fucking cocky and acting like he's in charge essentially. I just hope it doesn't lose something growing a roster like that, and obviously as the story continues, I hope it just doesn't become fucking Cloud and Sephiroth have mumble at each other for a while because they get angry. I just hope that's not what it becomes.
Depressed.
Yeah. Hold on to that anger, Cloud. Literally, I'm just like, please keep these characters well developed, please. Even if it's just side stuff, even if it's just, oh, here's a chapter where you and Barrett go out on the town and help some people out while you're in Calm or whatever. I'm like, perfect. That's great.
Yeah.
Just keep stuff in there. Don't just have them go, I'm gone, goodbye. I'm in the background forever.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how they do the gold
doing
saucer.
The peace sign and then
same.
disappearing. Yeah,
I'm interested how they do the
goals.
goals.
Be cool when they do that.
I mean, yeah. I think they'll do a great job, especially with how well they did Chapter 9
yeah.
and the Honeybee Inn. Like, genuinely, I think that they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I feel like it might end up being something like that, but you'll be able to go back to it, and more things will be able to, like, happen.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
Because surprisingly, like, I didn't see that. I did not see Final Fantasy VII being that progressive. To be honest, I did not see the remake being that like accepting of people and being like, oh yeah, we're gonna have in a JRPG, we're gonna have a story, we're gonna have a part where we have a character bit where it's like acceptance of who you are, whatever you want to be. I'm like, okay, that's very fucking open for a Japanese video game. Like, fair play to Square and Nomura and everybody for that.
Like before the game came out and all that, and before like it was known.
Oh, everyone was like waiting for the bomb to drop.
So
everyone
terrified.
was like, yeah.
I wouldn't have been shocked if they just got rid of that part, but
which a lot of people were expecting.
Yeah.
Or everyone was expecting it to be extremely like fucking yikes, and everyone was like, "Oh god!"
Where they don't change anything.
Yeah. Oh no! But they did it. Like, honestly, it's like one of my favorite scenes. Andrea Rodega is honestly like great. I fucking love him. He's honestly like, he's so good. Like, genuinely underrated character. Like, there's so many characters in that. That's the thing. There's so many characters in that game that I'm just like, I want to see more of them. Which I know we won't. But I'm like, God, so good.
That is a bummer. All the side characters that are stuck in Midgar.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. We still have Chadley.
We still have Johnny, dude. He's gone off somewhere.
Oh,
we'll see him again. We'll see Johnny again. Whether we like
still
to
have
or not.
Roche.
Roche, yeah, he's going to pursue Cloud.
Can't wait.
It's going to be amazing.
I can't wait for him to be like to literally just show up like halfway through part 2 and just be like, yeah.
I know the other day we were joking about him like bringing an extra motorcycle. Imagine fighting him while you're riding on the back of a chocobo.
That'd genuinely be hilarious.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Or what if he got his own chocobo just to keep things fair?
Painted it red.
There's a part of the Golden Saucer, like one of the main mini games you can do is like chocobo racing. It'd be funny if he was in that.
That'd be fun. That'd be funny.
I feel like you could do anything with Roche, and you could make it make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now he's after 2 people, you know. He's after Cloud, but he's also after Yuffie now, because they're now friends as well, because Yuffie beat him in a fucking board game. He's now like, you're my closest friend too. Yeah. He makes a whole comment where he's like, I better see you again, or I'm coming to find you too. I'm like, well, you're going to find both of them at the same time, probably.
Dude, what if Roche meets Zack?
What if he joins Zack's party?
They both ride off into the sunset. I'd love to see it. You'd love to see it. Anyway, we've chatted shit long enough. That was a long section.
More out of that part than I thought we would.
Yeah.
Same. But hey, that was fun. We hope if you did stick around for that, thank you, and we hope you enjoyed us chatting shit about Remake.
Hopefully, you enjoyed the JRPG episode of the podcast.
Hopefully, that is the last time that we mention Remake in a segment for a while, at least. Please, Square, don't start showing trailers like 3 years in advance. Please don't. Don't do that.
Literally tomorrow.
Literally tomorrow, new trailer.
Especially because Square likes to overshare things.
Mm.
They did such a good job with Base 7, except for that for 7 Remake, except for the last trailer. Rule of thumb for Square Enix. Yeah, I didn't either. Rule of thumb for
the reveal.
Apparently, like 90% of the stuff. That's the thing. Rule of thumb for Square Enix games. Last bit of advice: never watch the final trailer because it spoils everything. They did it with Kingdom Hearts 3. They did it with Remake. They will do it for the next Kingdom Hearts game. They will do it for Remake Part 2. Just don't. They'll do it for 16. Just don't. Don't watch the final trailer. You'll probably be better off. But anyway, with that has been our show. Thank you so much for listening / watching this week. As always, our links are on screen right now. You can follow us on social media, Twitter, YouTube, all that jazz hands. Follow us to keep up to date with everything that we do on our personal accounts. But if you want to just keep up to date with the show, you can follow us on Twitter at HotGamersOnly. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/HotGamersOnly. Or if you want to just listen to us instead of looking at our stupid faces, you can find us on your favourite podcast services by going to the link tree in the description where you can find us on Spotify, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, you can find us on anything. We're probably on it. at
Tune
this
into
point.
the video version of the show next week to see me absolutely scorched, by the way.
Oh yeah, you're
I'm going to the beach.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get sunburnt as all get out
I'm sure that'll be
because gingers
joy.
don't tan.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be a joy. We should probably have a Fantasy League update as well soon. We're waiting for Jack or Sam to be like, yes, we can show up, because we're not getting both of them because it's like fucking gold dust. That's not happening.
Oh yeah.
But we need one of them. We will do an update before the end of. We said before the end of July, which means before. Well, that means we need to do it this week. We'll do it this week. We'll do a bonus episode this week. If it's just us three, it's just us three. We'll just do a bit. We'll do it. We'll do an episode at some point. But with that, thank you so much for listening / watching. We'll be back same time, same place next week for more. But until then, have an awesome week, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Toodaloo.